Lord.
Okay, thanks everyone so much for joining me. So we're going to be discussing today basically what's going on in the market and how COVID has been affecting our real estate market here in Montreal. I'm going to start with a little introduction. I'll just introduce myself to you. We'll talk about some market stacks. We'll talk about what a transaction is actually like in a COVID environment. And then finally, I'll give some tips and tricks for maintaining or increasing your home's value. And then if anyone has any questions, I'm here to answer whatever questions you might have. My name is Samara Wigdor. I'm a real estate broker with Royal LePage Heritage. I have a BCom in Finance and Information Technology from McGill. I started my career actually in commercial real estate at Cushman & Wakefield a little bit over 10 years ago. But I decided that I was a little bit more interested in helping people buy and sell properties in their personal lives as opposed to leasing office and retail space. My main passion is helping people find the right home or sell their family home in order to meet the needs of their current life situation. But I've also helped many people grow their investment real estate portfolios. So we're going to talk about some market information. To really understand the effects COVID has had on our market, we're going to look at what the market was like when COVID hit. It goes without saying that the stronger the market, the less the impact will be. After we evaluate our past market conditions, we'll talk about what March and April have been like. And then finally, we'll end with a little forecast. So we're going to be looking at 4 key indicators. The first thing we're going to look at is the median price of Montreal homes. So it's very important to note here, as I did with a star, that we're comparing an incomplete year of 2020 to the last 5 years. So I put a star on all the other slides just to remind you guys of this. It's also important to note that we're looking at residential homes. So that means condos, single family homes, and multi-residential properties on the whole island. So as you can see, 2019 saw a huge increase in median values, and that momentum has continued into 2020. So the increase of 7%, it's slightly less, but we're comparing an active January and February to an artificially quiet year, quiet March and April with a full and free year in 2019. So this picture is really not so grim. Next, we're going to move on to the average time to sell. So this is where you can see that the market is growing in favor of the seller. Again, our time frame in 2020 is so limited. So I don't consider this so grim either, as it takes less time every year to sell a home. And we're comparing a relatively slow time, which is January and February, and a forced slow time being March and April to a full regular year. It's actually impressive to see that the market moved more in favor of the sellers again this year. So the next page takes a look at the number of active listings. As this number goes down, buyers feel more and more of a squeeze, and bidding wars become more frequent as buyers don't have enough inventory of homes to choose from. We could see here 2 bars per year. So the dark green is the full year and the light green is just a snapshot of March and April from those years. So as you can see, inventory has steadily been decreasing since 2015. From 2019 to 2020, we have approximately 22% less inventory, which is a lot when you compare the drop from 2018 to 2019 of approximately 11%. But interestingly enough, inventory dropped 22% from 2017 to 2018 as well. So again, there's nothing really too grim here. Don't forget that this statistic is directly and inversely related to home prices. As buyers have less to pick from, they have to pay more to buy the homes that they actually do decide to put offers on. So finally, we're going to discuss the number of sales each year, and here's where you see a sizable drop. The number of sales in Montreal has dropped 40% in March and April this year. So while it's a staggering number, it only makes sense that people are not able to visit homes, so they can't really buy homes. So just to put things into perspective, it only makes sense up until now. Oh, sorry. hold on. It only makes sense up until now, and like every other business and industry in the economy, that the real estate market has slowed down. We had a really busy first half of March, but like any other business, we had to hit the brakes on March 23rd. So there's still new listings, and believe it or not, people are still buying. I myself have actually seen a few bidding wars in April, and many people are even putting offers, at least for condos, with no visit or even any visit condition, just to win their bidding wars. So let's not forget that buyers are tired. Some of them have been shopping for over a year. Some of them have been shopping for over 2 years. And since they've already seen so much, they're seeing this time as an opportunity to prance. We see this more for condos than houses. A lot of bigger condo buildings are not even allowing outside visitors, though. More good news for sellers is that we've seen some of the lowest interest rates in 10 years. So whether or not a buyer bought in March or April, they were able to lock up a rate for 90 to 120 days. A lot of people are speculating now, and I'm hearing buyers thinking that home prices are going to fall drastically and that sellers are thinking not to sell this year. But for the same reason, all evidence points to a strong rebound. It's almost like we turned off a tap, but once we turn it back on, the tap's going to start up again with a vengeance. So that was my opinion, but it's backed by a Royal LePage study that forecasts a stable market with a slight decrease in home prices of about 0.5% in the greater Montreal area, if we're allowed to resume activity by late spring. So a darker forecast of a decrease of 3.5% if we're only allowed to resume our activity by late summer. So actually what I found the most interesting about that press release was that they mentioned that home prices in Montreal have never decreased more than 3.5% in 50 years. So if anything, it's a wonderful testament to how strong the fundamentals of our market is, and it should instill security for homeowners around the city. I also wanted to point out that this study is for the whole island of Montreal. So that means that if regular activity resumes next month, some areas are going to see a greater drop than 0.5%, while other areas may even see an increase in price still. Furthermore, I mean, most brokers are expecting to be completely overwhelmed once this is business as usual again. So we're expecting a very high demand from clients who have just been waiting for this to end. And due to the very low supply and very low interest rates, we're not really worried about home values. So I spoke a lot. I still have more to say, but I'm just curious if there's any questions or comments, if anyone has anything to say at this point.
Anybody has a question, wants to share something, please, at this point?
Yeah, I want to say something. The condo market, there's a huge inventory of resale. You think the condo market is going to go down because of all the inventory, what's coming up, and what's for sale right now?
I personally don't. I mean, I agree with you that there is a huge inventory of condos, but the prices, I mean, the demand has been very high. I mean, personally, I sold a condo in this pandemic. I listed it in the pandemic. I had no visits. I had multiple offers on it, and it ended up selling 50,000 over asking. So I totally agree with you. There's a lot of supply, and I even sometimes wonder who's buying it, who's driving the price up. But I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing that the price goes down for condos.
If the pandemic keep going the way it is going right now, with so many people dying, do you think the real estate market will be slowing down recently?
Definitely. I mean, if you're looking at, we were last year, like I said, the median prices of a home went up 9%. They're forecasting a slight decrease of 0.5% if we're able to start in a month or so. So that's definitely slowing down. It's for sure it's going to slow, but if anything, I think buyers are going to have a little bit of breathing space now, and I think it's temporary as well, but I don't think that I'm not thinking that prices are going to drop so drastically. And it also depends on which area we're talking about. I mean, Montreal has so many different pockets. I think we could say around the Spanish and Portuguese synagogue, those areas, I personally am not worried of home values going down, but slowing down, definitely. I mean, a bit, a lot of it's this coronavirus has changed the plans of a lot of people, but to what extent, I'm not sure.
How about Ville Saint Laurent?
Ville Saint Laurent, I would have to get back to. I mean, I could look specifically and see what's going on in Ville Saint Laurent, but just because I didn't know if I should do the whole Montreal, if I was going to bore you guys with every single city. So I could look into it and I could send you the stats specifically for Ville Saint Laurent if you'd like.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay. Any other questions or continue? Okay, I'm going to continue.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, sorry. So we've discussed the market stats, which should give you a real life picture of what's going on. But the next thing to discuss is who can buy and who can sell today. So everyone's allowed to buy or sell, but of course that's hard to do when you can't physically displace yourself to do a visit. So as it stands now, only priority clients are allowed to do visits. The easiest way to explain a priority client is someone who would be left homeless if they don't buy before July 31st. So it's not just someone who wants to move, it's someone who absolutely must move. Before we do a visit, we need to try to do as much teleworking as we can and properly screen any buyer who wants to visit. So this includes making sure that a buyer is interested by performing a virtual visit first, and then also ensuring that they're pre-approved. Any visit today has to have paperwork done to attest that the client is priority. And furthermore, we need a declaration that the client is healthy and has not been in contact with any COVID positive individuals. Once the visit starts, all the rules that you already know and have heard countless times apply. So I personally ask everyone involved to wear a mask and gloves, and I don't allow visitors to touch anything. The home occupants must leave, and we're only allowed one visitor at a time in addition to the broker. So if a couple's visiting, it's going to be one spouse at a time entering the property. Unfortunately, there's no children or people aged 70 and over who are permitted to do a visit. Finally, and this rule is a little unusual, but as of now, any home listed after April 20th is not permitted to have any visits or inspections on them. Priority or non-priority, it's just not allowed. So I believe that the government's doing this to limit the supply and to ensure that the prices don't fall, but we're waiting every day for this restriction to be lifted. I want to reiterate the importance of these rules being respected, because we all want to be out of this mess as quickly as possible. So these rules are here to flatten the curve and to protect us and to make sure that we can all get back to business as usual as soon as possible. So now to discuss what you can do if you're not a priority client, but you are hoping to buy or sell in the near future. So for buyers, it's the best time to line your ducks up and be ready to strike when business goes back to normal. As a buyer, there's no reason to not get pre-approved right now. There are a lot of mortgage specialists who are ready and able to receive scanned documents and send a file to the bank to get pre-approved. So the documents that they need also are not usually at our fingertips, and it takes time to find. So now's a really good time for that. It's also important to monitor the market. Ask your real estate broker to put you on an automatic search so that you get all the relevant listings. And if you see a listing sold, find out how much it's sold for and try to learn the story behind the sale. This information is available from your real estate broker. So you can always ask to learn the behind the scenes of any sale you might have heard of or seen. If you see something you like, you can always make an offer conditional on a visit. And then if you don't like the property after the visit, you can always cancel the offer. And of course, a virtual visit can always be requested. For someone who's thinking to sell in the near future, it's actually a very busy time for them. It's never been a better time to get your home in order and to depersonalize it so future buyers can see themselves in your home. Give your real estate agent a virtual tour. They could tell you what you could do to prepare. And decluttering is a big one. So just like the buyer, you should ask your broker to put you on an auto search so that you learn your comps and you learn the market that you're in. It's also a really good time to make sure your certificate of location is up to date and prepare documentation such as your municipal and school tax invoices and renovation and repair receipts for your future listing. So I'm just going to finish off by talking about what you can do to pass the time and feel productive in your day. This is for homeowners who may not even be thinking to sell in the near future. So it's going to take a load off of you when you do decide to sell your home, whenever that might be. So the best and most time-consuming thing to do is to declutter, not just your rooms, but your closets and your pantries as well. A full closet tells a buyer that a home lacks space. So there's never been a better time to go through your belongings and to donate to those in need. You could try to go through every room in the home and see which rooms need it the most. The next is to look into smart home items such as a Nest thermostat, or you could even look into the doorbell, which has a camera. It's almost like having a security camera outside of your house. They don't cost as much as you might think, but at least the thermostat would save you energy costs, and they do add a certain wow factor for some buyers. The next thing you could do is to look into little fixes. You can fix or replace kitchen cabinet handles or any broken doorknobs. You can always shop online for these items. One little fix I like to do is to change the address numbers outside your home. It adds a touch of modernity and it takes part of your home's first impression. Next, I'll just discuss lighting. For those of you who don't know, there's a great website called Wayfair. You can check stuff out there and they have very affordable lighting, and lighting is very important to your home's value and it should be evaluated pretty seriously. If you're thinking to do a bigger renovation to your home, you can always start working on finding contractors and figuring out what exactly you want to do. House.com is a great resource for getting ideas. If you might want to sell in the next 5 years, remember that when you do sell, you are going to have to declare any defects. So if you do know about a defect in your home, decide if you'd like to repair it. And if so, it's a great time to start to plan the repair. Last but not least, if you're going to be selling sooner rather than later, it's a good time to do a video call with your real estate broker and learn what needs to be done to stage your home. So I think I covered it all. If anyone has any questions, I'm here.
Anyone has a question?
I think you've been perfectly, very well done. It's very well done.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks to you for coming.
Pleasure.
Samara,
Yes.
do you have any figures for Côte Saint-Luc and NDG?
I have them. I could send them to you for sure. Côte Saint-Luc and NDG. I mean, it's not, again, there hasn't been much listed in these areas, but also Saint Laurent as well. But I'll be happy to send you all the information I have specifically.
Okay, no problem.
Anyone else, please have any question?
Okay, so
Hey, Samara, thank you so much.
thank
you.
you.
Very good. Thank you.
I hope you guys learned anything. And I just want to kind of reiterate that I really do think that it is going to be okay. And I really think we're very well positioned to weather this storm. So if anyone ever has any questions about their own personal situation, I'm here for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, Samara, for your time. Great presentation. We've learned a lot and you've assured us. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks to you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful